So big news from the San Francisco 49ers. This week, the organization announced it is committing $5 million over the next decade to local and national social justice organizations. So joining me now is Director of Community Relations, Stacy McCorkle. Thank you so much for joining me. This is big news for the organization.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. You want to explain the program a little bit for those that haven't heard of it?
Sure. Well, last year, following the murder of George Floyd, the York family pledged $1 million to support organizations working towards social justice. And with the help of our players, our Black Employee Resource Group, the Community Impact Department, and others throughout the organization, we identified 10 organizations that were doing incredible work in the community. And just halfway through that 2-year grant cycle, we've already seen so much tangible results from those grantees. And it was just clear that they're creating the type of change that we really need in our community. And it's something that we want to continue investing in. So the York family is committing an additional $5 million in grant funding over the next 10 years through 5 additional 2-year grant cycles to support local and national nonprofits working to create racial equity in policing, ending mass incarceration, and promoting educational and economic advancement.
So last year's initiative, when this all kind of came to a head and the team decided to do something following the George Floyd protests and whatnot, were you just getting an influx of people that wanted to be a part of this that made the team realize, okay, you know what, this could be a long-term thing? Or is it just knowing that this is where the world is right now?
I think, it's a little bit of both. This isn't a new space for us to be working in. We've been supporting organizations working in criminal justice reform for 2 decades now. We, through the York family, committed $1 million in 2016 towards social justice organizations. And, it's obviously come to the forefront and everybody's learning so much more and having this, awakening of learning all of the different challenges and obstacles there are. And so for us, it's just a part of, who we want to be. We want to be part of the change. We want to be able to utilize our resources, not only financial, but also our time and energy and efforts to be on the right side of history. And so, it was really important for the York family and really the whole organization from the top down that we are doing our part. So this grant was really an opportunity for us to identify those organizations that are on the ground making that change and chipping away at so many of the issues, and gives us a way to be a part of it too. And not only help to support what they're doing, but also to work together on programs that we can help create awareness around and help, a lot of individuals and families.
So 10 years is a very long time, but has there been any talks about maybe extending it for 20, 30, or not even having an extension, just it being a permanent fixture?
I mean, like I said, we have been supporting causes like these for decades now. So it's hard for me to predict past what we're going to be doing in 2032 and say, where we are by then. Hopefully we will all have made significant progress by then. But, surely there's going to be more work to do. And, again, this has been a staple of our work through creating educational and economic opportunities that I could go so far as to bet this will still be in, one of our top priorities in 2032, but who am I to predict the future?
So how can an organization locally or nationally get involved and apply for this grant? What is the process they have to go through?
So we are right in the middle of our 2022 grant cycle. So that's one of the reasons why we're so excited to make this announcement and additional commitment, is because we've seen just such great successes and so many tangible results from the organizations that we have worked with this go around. So in March of 2022, we will roll out the new application for the next grant cycle, and organizations that are local and national nonprofits, but that are serving the Bay Area, will have the opportunity to apply for this grant funding. And again, those areas are working in criminal justice reform, police and community relations, and then organizations that are promoting educational and economic advancement. All of those organizations are eligible, and so we would encourage you to, check back around in March of 2022 for that application. But for now, you can learn a lot about what our current grantees and some of our other nonprofit partners are doing at 49ers.com/social justice.
And I noticed on the announcement, it's kind of there's quite a process involved. Where you include some of the players, I understand, to pick the organizations?
Yes, we do. So this grant cycle that we're currently in, the application process was pretty lengthy in terms of our selection. We had a ton of just incredibly qualified organizations that are all doing unique individual work that is all helping to eradicate systemic racism and injustice. So we had some incredible applications that we needed to go through. So we got involved. We got many different parts of the organization involved, and the players were kind of that last step. So we had employees from our Black Employee Resource Group. We had members of our Community Impact Department. We had executives. They all worked to kind of filter, choose the cream of the crop of those applications. And then we worked with our players to, they actually met with each of the organizations, and the organizations were able to present to this group of players on their work and what they believe they could accomplish with our grant funding. And so the players had a really big hand in selecting those organizations and selecting kind of the distribution of funds. So it really was a full organization effort.
Awesome. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
So, all of these programs and the funding that we are providing, it's really all in line with the organization's mission, and just being a big part of the Bay Area community. We do a lot of work in social justice. We also have the 49ers Foundation, which is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, alongside the team's 75th anniversary. And for us, the organization, it's all about what we can do as an organization and as a Bay Area institution to really support our community and just be a part of the change. It's our responsibility to be the best partners that we can be for our nonprofit partners that are on the ground fighting for change. And we're also, really inspired by the interest that our corporate partners have had with the same interests and goals in mind. And it's allowing us to all work together to make huge things happen. And so, this is one of the ways that we can continue to empower and educate individuals and our community members, and, just feel super grateful that we live in this diverse Bay Area community, and that we can, help move the needle forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
We'll have more news and weather.